Oh man, Blackish is such a goated show. What could possibly go wrong?
Grandma only has 3 good hours a day.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Love you to pieces.
Have a good time.
Hey, Grandma.
I love this show, but damn does it get dark quick. Now you guys saw the title, so you know what we're gonna do today. We're back at it again with reading Dungeons and Dragons stories on Reddit. However, we're going to be venturing into the more darker stories that I picked out, 3 of which having this warning. I'll put in warnings through each story though in case it gets particularly bad. This time we'll be looking at stories from our /RPG horror stories to see some new and weird stories. Our first story comes from Kelly Draws 2005 with the title called Ex-Party Members Threatens Court After Willingly Leaving a Session. Oh yeah, and here's your warnings right now in case you guys were curious.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Look at this. Open your eyes, Sky. We're about to die. We're gonna die. I'm about to cry. I'm about to cry.
List of people involved: Bard, the one who was causing issues; Sorceress, the one who has allowed their home to be used for D&D; Cleric, worked with Bard on a game; quit sometime during this year; Paladin's girlfriend, Paladin; friend of Bard; Cleric's boyfriend, DM; close friend of mine who helped deal with Pirate and Bard; Shovel, Pirate's girlfriend; Pirate ex-Dungeon Master who I'm not comfortable with, and who made set advances on me. So for context, Pirate was mine and DM's old Dungeon Master last year. I have a lot of issues resulting from trauma and got manipulated by him, and after dropping him he started to stalk me. Pirate also made a lot of set comments about my character last year too, which has made me struggle to use her even now. Now for this year's session. Pirate was hosting this year's D&D session, and due to DM knowing about my issues with Pirate, stepped up and became a Dungeon Master, so I didn't have to deal with Pirate. Pirate approved of this, and I invited Bard, Cleric, and Paladin to play D&D, and so I can feel safer with friends. Pirate's room was across from ours, and so we would only see him and his group when we entered and exited the room. For whatever reason, Pirate put his girlfriend, Shovel, into our group. I was fine with her, but she was whiny. Constantly put the attention on herself and was aggressive towards me, so eventually DM put her into Pirate's group. Shovel also actively told DM she would kill me BTW. Pirate is aware how scared and uncomfortable I am around him, and at one point was Saturday in our D&D room until we got there because his had people in it. He could have just waited outside of the room.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say because my lip popping.
Bard settled well at first, but eventually started to bring alcohol onto college premises. I have issues with people being drunk, but I drank 1 or 2 cups anyway just to be able to ignore it. I also was aware Bard has problems with being an alcoholic and a drug user, but the drugs never got involved. He would just occasionally go out to smoke a joint. Eventually, due to unknown circumstances, Bard got kicked out of college due to his behavior, I think. Bard also sometimes during D&D wouldn't get involved and would work on his game with Paladin. After a few months of alcohol and getting ignored, DM sent Bard a HR message about his behavior, as at the point it was getting out of hand. Bard took this horribly and started to slander DM behind their back and stopped coming to D&D for a few weeks. Me, Sorceress, and DM got very close at this time, and when we found out from Cleric, they told us all the issues they had with Bard beforehand and that they quit working on the game with Bard and Paladin. Apparently, I can't take a red flag, so when Bard asked me to work on the game, I said yes. Fortunately, this man kept pestering me with work and 11 p.m. calls that I started to go into a state of dysfunction, specifically doing anything art-related.
Absolutely.
How do you know that?
Hello?
Hello.
I mean, look.
Now back to the main part of the story. Me and my D&D group went to have a picnic. It was at a set time, and me, Sorceress, and DM went together. After we found the spot, we Saturday down with the rest of the group, which had the Rogue, Artificer, and a Rondo as extras here. There was also Paladin and Cleric. We all Saturday down and got comfortable, and Cleric, Sorceress, and DM had to go to the bathroom after a while. Guess who comes while those three are gone? Bard. He pulls out 2 bottles of cider and starts downing them, while then also taking his shirt off. I don't think he even offered anyone some of the bottles. At this point, I was really uncomfortable and tried to ignore him. One thing I couldn't ignore was him staring at me. Now, I'm FTM and I was wearing more femme and revealing clothes because it was hot. This man kept staring at me and I felt so uncomfortable I put on a jacket in sunny 20, see weather where there was no shade. I warned the others using Discord and get a response, but by the time they get back, Bard has his shirt back on. But he's still drinking. We play a card game after, and DM tells the others me and them have to catch the train. Bard and Rogue say to stay 5 more minutes, so we do, then we start packing. Suddenly Bard wants a Polaroid photo with the group, so we do that. At this point we have said we have to go and quickly finish packing and leave. We barely make it to the train.
What the hell?
There was also an incident between Bard and Paladin that happened at Sorceress' house during a game night there with the rest of the group. Me and DM didn't go due to the alcohol again. Allegedly, Bard started to get aggressive with Paladin after Paladin told Bard he had to go home. Now for the last straw, Bard's behavior escalated during this point, and he sent a voice note into the D&D group chat full of people who love animals that the police had a deer and that its intestines got thrown across the road and that blood and bits were everywhere. DM asked Bard to delete it, and again a HR message was sent to him giving him one last chance. Bard lost his shit, cursed DM out, and left the groups and servers for D&D. Great, that's the end of it, right? No. He sends me voice notes and messages, and I tell him I don't trust him and don't want to work for him. He seemed completely fine with that and left me with no hard feelings. Now coming to recently, and here's more context. I had a mental breakdown after seeing Pirate outside of my classroom door. I texted Bard about it and that I wanted to report him for the saw and stalking. He told me not to and that it won't go well for me. I eventually gave in, and I now realize he was likely protecting Pirate. Now to a few weeks ago, Paladin texts DM while me and DM are in Sorceress' house to hang out. He says Bard wants to meet with DM or else he will file a defamation case against them. Then Bard targets me so that Pirate can get a defamation case against me. At this point, I am panicking, pissed and bawling. We all weigh our options. Text DM's mother, and mother says we will go to the police who look up their records after we tell them the story and tell us to get a restraining order 10 minutes after we leave. Now a week ago, one of Pirate's friends tried to send me a friend request on Discord and I denied it. No other situations have happened since then. No more threats, no more requests. We think he's done this before, and he was just bluffing. Edit. Let me clear a few things up because I didn't make things clear. I was around Pirate from September 2024 to March 2025. Any situations mentioning Pirate and me speaking to him or willingly being around him was during that time frame. Everything else was from September 2025 to now. Oh my, I genuinely don't know what to say. I feel sorry to the person who has gone through this and everyone who has to experience it. If anyone has or is going through something like this, report the person who's causing this and let a trusted person know so you can get help. But hey, props for there being a decent ending. Let's see if the others have good endings as well. The second story comes from location Agile 752 with the title being, Player immediately said he leaves the campaign after I refused to give him Great Axe proficiency. I don't play D&D myself, so I'm gonna be confused as hell reading this.
What the f*** am white? You're welcome.
I'm running a series of campaigns with more or less the same players for about 5 years already. My new campaign should start soon, and we're all in the process of making characters now. So the player in question naturally reaches out to me with questions about his character. First he asked if he could have Mantif be his pet. I said sure, but you need animal handling skill. Then he asked if he could have Great Axe proficiency. I said no. He then immediately said I'm leaving then. First I thought this was a joke. Maybe it actually was at first. But later, when we were in a voice chat with a couple of other players, he made it abundantly clear that he's not playing without this proficiency and that I'm letting his oldest player go just because of one weapon that wouldn't even break anything, honestly. I even agree with him that it wouldn't break anything. I was even considering changing my decision. But then, he proceeds to tell everyone in the voice chat that I'm debtless and will give him that proficiency anyway later. That was the last straw for me. We talked a little in DM, but to no avail. He told me that it's my fault that he's leaving. You would say that this is an easy situation problem player threatens to leave, so let him leave. But he's my oldest player and friend, and he's the one that introduced me to D&D and encouraged me to DM also. He's the one that introduced all the other players to my campaign, and I'm afraid that even if I run the campaign without him, it would feel off.
You're joking! You're joking! I can't believe my eyes!
Oogie Boogie explained my reaction properly. You need to tell me the one who introduced you to D&D gets mad when you say you couldn't use something. This is something I would expect a 7-year-old who has never been told no in their life to act like. Not a grown older person. You could always use it for another campaign, or simply just take the no and move on with it. Like bro could have handled this much better than to act like a brat.
Well, hello again! Are you ready for round 2?
Well, I'm not sure what that was, but let's move on to the next story. The next story comes from Perdita, with the title being, DM didn't realize how creepy his game was, or maybe I'm just giving him too much credit. Oh no, is the DM going to be a creep in this story?
Love me. Yeah. Love me. I'm in the Masoni room at the Bibelos. Love me. The boat was rocking too much on some of
This was my first attempt at playing D&D with strangers online. I replied to a Facebook post about DM looking for some more players for his game, and was invited to join. The DM specifically mentioned he wanted to recruit some female players, because he had never played in a party with the same number of male and female players, and wanted to try it out. The character building went okay, though I noticed that all the reference pictures he had for women of his homebrew race were very sexual, with the stereotypical female fantasy armor and all that. First session went pretty good, fighting mimics and solving puzzles. Then came the second, and for me, last session we arrived in the town which turned out to be a town of pleasure, a magical town that shows up randomly around Forgotten Realms. I don't know the lore of FR enough to know whether this is part of official setting, but I very much doubt it. The town of pleasure is apparently filled to the brim with brothels, taverns, and some more brothels. My character, a young woman, was a fighter obsessed with finding challenging opponents to fight with. So I asked if there are any fighting arenas in this place. I got an answer that sure, there's lots of arenas where people fight each other. Well, to be more specific, where women fight each other, usually naked, and often covered in pudding apparently. I wasn't interested in that, so my fighter went to the inn where we stayed to wait until other party members returned from whatever errands they were running in the town. In the evening, there was a party going on in that inn. I specifically said that my character is nursing a single beer throughout the whole evening. I decided that she didn't trust her new companions enough to get drunk around them at this point. DM didn't really acknowledge this. Instead, he mentioned that there were some special spices available for us to add to our drinks, and then ended the scene by saying that the party goes on into late hours and we all eventually pass out. He then describes the characters waking up in the morning. One is now wearing a wedding band she has no memory of acquiring. Another woke up in bed with a sourgin or something. And then we come to my character, who wakes up lying on the floor, completely naked, without any memories of what happened last night. When I mentioned that my character was careful not to get drunk, he just said, "Well, I guess you didn't realize how strong the spices were." I am pretty sure that in DM's mind this was just another example of you got drunk and did some crazy shit last night. But to me it really sounded like someone spiked your drink and stripped off your clothes while you were passed out, which freaked me out. I just sat there silently for a couple minutes while the other character was trying to figure out who she had married, until I decided that I don't want to be part of this game anymore. I made up some excuse and left.
Stop. I can't take any more. I can't do this. I cannot do this any fucking more. I can't do it anymore.
I was fairly sure that the DM made my character black out only because it would break his plan for the hangover session otherwise. I was even wondering if I should just explain it to the DM and return for the next session. But then I remembered the brothel town and the reference pictures, and decided this is just not a game for me. Still not sure what to think, to be honest. Was he a creep pretending that it was completely normal? Or just a railroader who didn't think about the implications of what he forced the story to be? You know how Facebook messages from people you don't know are placed in other folder and you don't get notifications for them? A couple of weeks after I left that game, one realized that right after I commented on DM's post in the FB group, someone wrote to me saying that they don't recommend playing with this DM because he can get somewhat creepy. Just to be clear, I was always aware that all the weird elements of that game were at least somewhat creepy, but I just assumed it was normal for DnD Spaces at the time. It was almost 10 years ago. It's only the Saw part that I was not sure if it was intentional creepiness or unintentional implication.
Hey! No! Stop! Just calm down! Don't do it!
Whether the DM meant it to be so or not, it's still extremely weird to even include in the story. And bro was already giving me Incel Discord moderator vibes just from the first part of the story alone. Yes, I know not all Discord moderators are like this. Don't give me crap in the comments, please.
Ready or not, here I come!
Excuse me, could you stop it please, whoever's here?
Oh, birthday boy!
Let's just read one more story before I go ape shit. The last story we'll be reading today comes from Independent Truth 127, with the title being Someone's First Experience to the Game Gone Wrong.
I'll be here till the end. I don't have a chance to tell you, but the others haven't made the cut.
So my first ever campaign was started out of a youth club, and we all pretty much became friends through that. We're still a tight friend group, all at uni and still playing, just without this player. Let's call them our tagged as Saw. But also TW for addiction and domestic abuse. We started this campaign when we were all about 13. Going into the campaign didn't set out any sort of boundaries, as it was our first campaign, and we weren't really friends. Thinking about that, we play the campaign for a bit, and all is fine. R has a little main character syndrome, but nothing major. Playing a tiefling bard, a few years on, about age 15 to 16. We all sleep over our DM's house and get drunk. We're all much better friends by now. And that night we start playing Truth or Dare. This ends with one of our friends opening up to us about his saw and his mother's drug addiction, as well as me opening up in response about my saw, own addiction, and own parental abuse. Another friend, who had gone near for a couple months prior, told us the reason we hadn't heard from them was because them and their mum were escaping their physically abusive stalker dad, who had turned up to their home multiple times armed. To my knowledge, this is the first time anyone in the group has heard of this, or is not a drinker, and was here for this conversation. But I was also drunk and remember it very clearly. We were all pretty emotional. Now, the day after, we play D&D, has a backstory moment while hallucinating in a swamp. This entails a graphic, prolonged description of their character being physically abused by their father, forced into child prostitution, and subsequent drug addiction, complete with faked withdrawal shakes and incredibly visceral roleplay around being a child prostitute, and a graphic description of being whipped by their father. I get that this was part of their backstory, but given the conversation that had just happened, I would have maybe held off on that sort of thing for one session, or at least toned it down. After this session, I spoke to the two friends who had opened up about their situations that night, and we all agreed that was a shitty thing to do. We confront the DM on this first. And he tells us that I did not tell him their backstory was that intense. He was told their character was abused for being a bastard child and ran away to join the circus, became a traveling bard who sometimes had set money as an adult. And the addiction was going to be a minor character trait more for humor than anything. He was also taken aback by ours roleplay, but we were all a bit shocked in this session and just went along with it. There were only 3 more sessions left in the campaign, so we told her the situation, played out the rest of the campaign, and did not let them join the next one. But it really put me off the campaign, which was a massive shame for me. Let's just play the theme because these problematic people have been pissing me off. Okay, now that we played the theme, let me go check out where the noise was coming from. Okay, so the lights just turned off, and I'm not hearing anything else.
Hey, boy, go get him!